Captain America Civil War has just come out, and it has already gotten several positive reviews from several critics, and has been declared a triumph from the very end. Remarkable, extraordinary, and the, quote, the greatest comic book movie of all time. Now, I couldn't exactly agree with all these, because it was awesome, no doubt. Most likely one of the best comic book movies ever to be made. But I have to admit there was one thing I had a problem with, but I will get to that soon. Anyways, right now I'd like to give you my review on Captain America Civil War. So first thing I'd have to say was obviously how awesome and excited I was for this movie, because it's only been a year since the announcement, and it was hyped up so much, and obviously it lived up to it. And it gave us so many bits and details of it that we could only put our expectations high up, which made the movie even more exciting, because according to the critics it really did live up to that. And honestly, I'm the kind of guy who wouldn't exactly care what critics would say and just enjoy the movie regardless, but if the critics are enjoying it and I happen to enjoy it at the same time, then it must be good. And I saw it, so it was good, and it was beyond good. It was like epic. Like, epic probably wouldn't even come near to the word I'm trying to figure out for this movie. It was just, what's a word for more than awesome? I'm gonna go with the best, okay? By far, the best comic book movie we have gotten all year. Well, probably not all year, because there's still plenty of stuff coming up, you know? But still, this was definitely gonna make the top 3. So the movie, of course, had to center around Captain America going against government regulations when it was assigned and mandatory for most of the superheroes, or enhanced individuals if you will. Tony Stark on one hand was for it. Of course, Captain America and his side were against it. Several people wanted to agree with Iron Man, mostly everyone, because they feel the Avengers are causing too much destruction. Personally, I was Team Cap because, yeah, they're causing destruction, but it's better than the alternative, which is utter annihilation. Would you rather have just a bit of destruction every now and then in a few of these cities, or total annihilation of a majority of the human race? I don't know about you, but a bit of destruction sounds fair to me. So, of course, eventually they come to blows because Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier, is being framed for an act of terrorism, which was exploding a meeting of the UN, and Cap knows that this was not his fault and not his doing, and that Bucky Barnes would have no reason to blow up the UN, so he does his best to protect him and try and prove he's innocent. That, of course, leads us to the epic fight of Team Iron Man and Team Cap, which, honestly, to me, was the best superhero fight ever I have ever seen in my life so far. Still upcoming movies. It was so epic. I mean, there were so many heroes fighting each other, all doing amazing tricks and skills and actions, and I can't describe how awesome it was. You'll have to see it for yourself. And of course, I loved the new Spider-Man. Tom Holland was awesome. Whatever flaws you might have with Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, it was definitely fixed with Tom Holland. He was a perfect amount of clever, smart alecky, badass, and serious. See, right now, I'm thinking, and most likely know, that he is the perfect Spider-Man because of all those traits I just added, and not to mention his costume, which is just a quick throwback to the original. You may not like it, but I definitely do, because I'm the kind of guy who could appreciate homages, you know? He was in the movie for a short amount of time. He was definitely awesome and stole the show. And of course, obviously, he made most of us laugh. I mean, how could you not laugh with the Spider-Man featured in your film? And of course, he wasn't the only new hero in the movie, leading to Black Panther, who was awesome. I mean, he was exciting, he was tremendous, he was exhilarating, he was just not epic exactly, but he was really just incredibly badass, you know? I love seeing him in action with retractable claws, bulletproof suit, so flexible, and all those awesome martial arts skills. Man. And on top of that, he's also King of Wakanda. Well, originally Prince of Wakanda, but you'll have to watch the movie to find out. Anyways, he was just exciting. You got to see the character more throughout the film, giving him more depth and background, and his, emotional state, kind of, you know? The movie was just a great way to introduce him into the franchise. And as for the movie overall itself, was, in a way kind of confusing, but in a really exciting way that you would have been totally fine with. Because on one hand, you got Team Iron Man and Team Cap, and you don't know who to root for. On one hand, Cap has the side of freedom, and on the other hand, Iron Man has the side of justice. But technically, Captain America's trying to use freedom to find justice for Bucky, and Iron Man's trying to use his justice in order to find freedom for people to feel safe. really just exciting. You get to see how all these heroes go against each other, and like you get kind of conflicted because every now and then you kind of want to switch to Team Iron Man, keep Team Cap, and definitely Spider-Man was a huge buffer for Iron Man side, but especially Ant-Man was a huge buffer for Cap too, which by the way, he was really awesome, and of course I put spoiler on the title. He grew giant and it was just so exciting and funny and cool at the same time. Oh man, he was awesome. Paul Rudd was definitely doing an awesome job with him. But despite how awesome and epic and tremendous the movie was, I do have to admit there was one, well, technically two, but one kind of flaw, you know? That flaw was that the newly introduced characters into the franchise didn't get as much screen time as I assumed. I mean, yeah, Black Panther got more than his fair enough amount of screen time, but Ant-Man and Spider-Man, they were like, we're in the movie for like 20 minutes, you know? I expected more screen time, but, you know, I guess it was just trying to make sure we got confirmation that they were aligned with the Avengers, you know? I mean, Spider-Man's still getting a new movie, it's just, I expected a bit more, like 30 minutes. We got like 20 minutes, that was about it. Ant-Man, well, he was still involved a bit more than Spider-Man, you know? He was in that prison scene with the rest of the Avengers, well, technically Rebels, I guess, kind of. Rebel Avengers? I'm gonna go with Rebel Avengers. But I was not disappointed. I mean, yes, it wasn't exactly what I expected, but it was still more awesome than that, I think, kind of, because at the end of the credits, obviously, since it's a Marvel movie, there was a post-credit scene, two actually, one featuring Bucky, Steve, and Black Panther, and the other one, of course, featuring our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's just in his room, you know, messing around with this new web shooter that he was working with Tony Stark, and then he presses some kind of button, and he reveals a Spider-Man signal. Now that's awesome. If you read the original comics, you would know that he has some kind of signal, and that, of course, is another great reference to it. And right when it comes to Black, it says, Spider-Man will return. That was definitely something that got me so hyped up. It was something that just totally made up for the lack of amount of screen time that I wish he'd gotten. But it definitely got me more excited and hyped up. And those three letters, Spider-Man will return, now that just restored my faith in this franchise, knowing that it was going to get bigger and more awesome. So my thoughts on Captain America: since the characters I wish got more screen time didn't get enough screen time as I wanted them to, I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10. Still, it's an awesome movie. You have to see it if you're a Marvel or comic book fan, or like any kind of superhero. Like if you're a fan of one superhero, you have to at least see it, you know? You're probably not going to love it, but you'll definitely enjoy it. It was definitely one of the best comic book movies ever, and I guarantee that you will not be disappointed by watching it. So those are my thoughts on Captain America Civil War, and I'd love to hear yours, so feel free to post whatever opinion you have in the comments below. This has been Random Night. It's been great reviewing this for you, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.